and get this going, get the show on the road. All right, so that was our networking session. And usually we do that in about 30 minutes, and we did that kind of as an open forum tonight. We appreciate everybody sharing their story with us. Before we get moving along, I always like to pay homage to Gene Guarino. Gene was the instrumental in the founding of the REL Academy and the REL National Association. And his goal was to introduce thousands of people to the model of residential style assisted living. His motto was do good and do well. Unfortunately, we lost him back in 21, but certainly not forgotten. And I always recommend everybody to go to our website where we actually save the recordings of all of our events that we've done via Zoom. And you can find those up here under the events tab. It's going to be events replay. But particularly if you're in Colorado, then you want to go to this link right here, the helpful links. And on that page, you would want to take a look at the first two links that we have there. This is chapter 7 and chapter 2. These are the rules and regulations that you have to follow if you're here in Colorado. If you own a facility in Colorado, you need to know these rules by heart. So we've just kind of dug through the state website, which is really tough to get through, and put shortcuts on the state or from the state website here so that you don't have to fight to find those things. And we always ask everybody to go ahead and join our Facebook page. It's under Denver ALR. In Colorado, they're called assisted living residences. Even the big facilities are called assisted living residences. It's kind of an odd name, but every state's got their own nomenclature for this. And we thank everybody that signed up on Meetup. Just gives us an idea of who's coming and how many people to expect. It seems like it's always about half of what we have signed up, but we get it. People get busy. We appreciate those folks that are able to come here. Oh, I do want to make a little announcement too. Al, I think you're going to like this. So starting next month, we're going to move our meetings back 1 hour. So if you're on the East Coast, instead of starting at 9, we'll be starting at 8. That'll be 7 Central and 6 Mountain Time and 5 Pacific Time. In particular, we've got a guest speaker coming in May, and keep your eye out for this speaker because she's very well known, and she's from the East Coast. So I didn't want to keep her up till 10:30 at night with the presentation. So I thought, well, why don't we just change it for everybody, thinking of my buddy Al out there in New Jersey. So you'll get to go to bed an hour earlier next month.
Thank you. I need my beauty sleep, all I can get, but thank you.
You bet. And here's our sponsors. We appreciate everybody that helps us put this on. We'll start with the Assisted Living Mansion. This is Brett Chunkavis. We have Brett come on here at least once a year. He's got, he's a great speaker. He's got a great thing going. Really dynamic individual, and hopefully you guys get to see him this year when he presents. But he's got a lot of really good information, and he's building these huge mansions in Texas. I went and looked at one when I was down in Austin for the NIC conference last year, and just phenomenal what he's got going on there. He's got 416 beds that he's building in a neighborhood, and it's they're mansions. They really are. They're absolutely gorgeous facilities. So go check him out at Assisted Living Mansion. And he's got a lot of really good information at Palm Dot University. Hopefully that's still up, but it's more for experienced operators, and they put together a lot of really good videos. And it's a nice program. So I would recommend, if you're experienced, even know this business, still go there and check out what he's got to say. I'm sure you'll walk away with something. And then there's the REL National Association. This is a National Association for Assisted Living. This is geared more toward the residential style. So hence the name RAL, what they call it in Arizona. And that's ralna.com, Ralna. And on there, they've got, let's see, they've got up to 30,000 members, and you can get exclusive pricing on products and services. So there's some group pricing there, there's newsletter, and it's free. So go there, sign up, and get on their list. And then the RAL Academy. So Jennifer, you mentioned you'd like to learn a little bit more about this space. This is a great place if you're getting started. This is a good place for anybody that's getting started in assisted living, the RAL Academy. And this was the academy that Gene started way back, got me involved in it in 2016. Gosh, it's been 10 years now. And we have a link to that on our website as well, RAL Academy at the top. And check them out. They've got an online course, or you can go do their 3-day course, or you can take it all the way up to having full mentorship, and they'll walk you through everything that you need and help you get your first home or expand your homes. And we heard from Peter at Assisted Living Marketing, and he's my website guy too. I've had him do all my websites, which I have several of them, and he just built a new one for me a month or so ago. That's our ABW Senior Investments. He's built websites for my wife's business, our other businesses. Anyway, Peter's been very responsive, and I've found that is a hard thing to find with web guys, is somebody who's very responsive. And he does a great job, and he understands this industry. So go to assistedlivingmarketing.com. Peter, do you want to say anything else while I got you here?
No, I love your endorsement. Appreciate it. And yeah, I love working with you guys. And yeah, it's one of the biggest challenges, and I hear it all the time. I can't get anything done on my website. I hate working with my website. My website person just, I haven't heard from them. They're ghosting me. Like, it just shouldn't be that way. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we try to just operate opposite of that and be responsive and get things done quickly and do a good job with it. So thank you.
You betcha. All right. So I just heard from Brian, and he's on the tarmac. So he'll call in. So we should be able to ask him questions once we get through his video there. All right. Next, we have Senior Care Administrator Coaching. And this is Janet Cornell, and she does consulting here in Colorado. So Janet's got 20 plus years of experience, and she's really the go-to gal for if you need a consultant. She also does a mock survey, so you can pay her to come through your house and tell you what the state would pick on you for, and it's a lot cheaper than the fines that the state would give you. So the state comes through and does a survey, and they look at what you got going on, and if they don't like it, they're going to write you up. It's going to be on your record. Janet can come in and basically preempt that, tell you what needs fixed, so that when the state does come through, you get a clean bill of health and you don't have fines. The state can fine you up to $10,000 for an immediate jeopardy, and that can put you out of business, especially if there's multiple immediate jeopardies. It's a terrible thing to have happen. It's really crazy fines that they have put in. So I think Janet's definitely worth the money to have her come through and check you out. Next, we have Colorado Recon, and this is Colorado's deal-driven real estate investor network. And members get Colorado-specific tools and training and expert support. So if you're an investor, this is someplace you want to check out, coloradorecon.com. They've been around for a long time. They were called ICOR, Investment Community of the Rockies. I've been a part of them since 2014, so I really believe in what they do, and they've got extreme value for their education programs. And when I say value, I've spent a ton of money on my education, and some of it is not as valuable. A lot of money a little bit of knowledge. And with here, you get a lot of knowledge for a little bit of money. So the value's unbelievable. So if you're into real estate investment, check out coloradorecon.com. And next, of course, one of our speakers tonight, pinkowskilaw.com. This is not only Colorado's assisted living lawyers, but they do work outside of Colorado as well. I spoke a little bit earlier about what Michelle can do for you. And Brian, he's a great business mind and does a lot of these deals. So we'll be hearing from him. So pinkowskilaw.com, and also he's got a nice blog going on right now that, they put a lot of good content, good information on that blog. I encourage you to go check out their website. Okay, now we'll talk just a little bit about what we're doing with the Better Way funding, and that we're doing lease options for group homes. So this doesn't work well for conversions, but if you're looking to buy an existing one, this works pretty well for that. It's basically you lease the property from us for a period of from 3 to 5 years. We set the purchase price in the front, so you know exactly what that price is going to be, and you can exercise that option anywhere after 3 years. So if you want to learn more about that program, you can go to ralleaseoptions.com. We've helped many operators double their business and double their business and double their business. We've got one operator that we've done close to or more than $50 million worth of purchases with. And at this point, they've got over 600 beds. And they now have an empire, and we've helped them along that path. So ralleaseoptions.com. And now we'll talk a little bit about our senior investments. This is the other side, the side that actually pays for these. And we do these deals, and we use investors that put their money in, and so this is really the financing side of the lease options. And we've got one project left right now, Lake Havasu. We're actually closing this Monday. We only have 2 units left in that. If you're interested, then really you need to call me up and let me know. But by Friday that will be closed out. And part of my business is I am a business broker, so Grand Avenue Business Brokers. I am a licensed at a Better Way Realty. I've got over 30 years of being an entrepreneur and in business. I've done well over 80 assisted living transactions at this point. And I think I'm up to about 130 million in transactions. I am a certified business intermediary and a certified senior housing investment professional, level 2. And my specialty, of course, is assisted living. And our current activity, let's see, right now we've got the 60 beds in Arizona. That's the Lake Havasu deal. And we've got another one in Northwest Denver. We've got one in Parker that will be closing here in a few months. And we've closed a whole bunch in the last year. So I've been pretty busy with that stuff. Next, I don't think we have a representative from Cala because Peter, you're not on the board anymore. Is that correct?
Nope, not anymore.
Okay, so a lot of times we do have a representative from Cala, but Cala is the Colorado Assisted Living Association, and they're very good at the legislation. And Janet Cornell, actually, who I spoke of earlier, is the president. They've been doing great things for the industry here in Colorado. So if you have a facility in Colorado, you should check these guys out and join their group. Okay, I think that pretty much covers the basics. So next, we're going to go into Brian's recording, and hopefully by the time he's done with the recording, that he'll be able to call in. So maybe I'll slow down just a little bit, try to give him a little extra time because it's not a really long recording, but we'll go ahead and get this started, and then we'll just kind of play it by ear. So here's Brian Pinkowski. If I can figure out how to start it. Here we go.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I couldn't be there live with you. As it happens, I was tasked with handling a hearing at the last minute, and I'm very likely landing in Colorado as you watch this. But I hope to join you by phone for the discussion and participate in answering some of the questions. So what I want to talk to you today is about building a
Uh-oh.
assisted living businesses that last. And I want to talk a little bit about leadership, administration, and the systems behind exceptional care. Assisted living, as you know, is one of the most meaningful businesses that you can choose. We are not just operating facilities, we're creating homes. We're supporting families during vulnerable moments. And when done well, we're building enterprises that provide both impact and lasting value. Demand for assisted living continues to grow, and families increasingly want smaller, relationship-centered environments, and investors are paying attention. And of course, that means that regulators are raising expectations. And in the face of all that, opportunity is strong, which is why Vern has a successful meetup group. But success in assisted living is not accidental. The operators who truly thrive are not just compassionate, they are disciplined administrators. They understand that great care comes from great disciplined systems. Administration is the hidden superpower. Many people enter this field because they care deeply about seniors, and that's essential. But compassion alone does not build business stability. Administration does. Strong operators know policies are not merely paperwork. They are operational tools. Documentation protects residents, staff, and owners. Consistent procedures reduce stress, turnover, and risk. Leadership clarity creates confidence across the entire team. So when administration is strong, and by strong, I mean consistent and clear, not forceful, everything else gets easier. Care delivery, inspections, staffing, financing, even expansion. And when administration is weak, even good places with good staff struggle and close. Now, policies and procedures only work if they are lived. You can have the best manuals in the world sitting on a shelf and they won't help you. Successful homes make policies part of daily behavior. They train consistently and continuously. And I know that's something that people struggle with. Training is important. They document consistently. They communicate clearly. They refine systems proactively. They build professionalism. And part of professionalism is a simple thing. It's completing work cycles. Most successful operators I see consistently get things done. Tasks do not linger. They're completed promptly and turn from being a task that drags from day to day on the to-do list to becoming the fulfillment of your strategic planning. That's how compliance stops feeling like pressure and starts becoming a competitive advantage. And that's when your home begins to stand out to families, to lenders, to regulators, and eventually to buyers. I have to say that the least successful operators I know get distracted by caregiving. You know what I mean? There are always a million things you could do in a facility associated with caregiving, and you have to prioritize completing work cycles that build your future. They have to be a priority because if you don't build it, it won't be there. Of course, you have to give excellent care, but you have to consistently build your future operations. Getting things done without delay is key to building your future. I see so many operators, and it's a consistent problem for them. And it's part of a big reason why some of them fail is they can't complete work cycles and don't treat administrative activities as the key to their success and their future. Okay, let's talk about the role of legal guidance. It's not crisis response. It is strategic support. One of the biggest misconceptions I see is that attorneys are only needed when something goes wrong. Or sometimes, oh, we got it from here. We don't need you anymore. We got it from here. And then things fall apart later because they didn't really have it from here and they got taken advantage of. In assisted living, the smartest operators use legal guidance early and strategically, not to avoid problems, but to build stronger businesses. That includes structuring acquisitions correctly, aligning licensing, leases, and management agreements, creating defensible policies and documentation systems, and anticipating regulatory changes, preparing for financing, partnerships, or future exits. These too are also important work cycles that help you build your future. Good legal support is not about fear and reaction. It is about taking control of your future, not your past, your future. It's about confidence. It gives you the runway to focus on culture, occupancy, staff stability, and resident experience. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I see in terms of where the industry is heading. We're entering a period of heightened professionalization. Families expect consistency. Regulators expect increasing accountability. Investors expect documentation. Oh my God, bookkeeping. It's got to be done. Finding good bookkeepers is a problem. But investors expect documentation, and that is key to the documentation. And buyers, of course, expect operational maturity. The market is starting to reward disciplined operators, and it's becoming less forgiving of improvisation and reactivity to government actions. Those things aren't threats, they're opportunities. Because smaller residential homes, when they're run well, have incredible advantages: flexibility, personal connection, and community feel. These strengths become even more powerful when they're supported by solid administration and clear practices. I think you can probably see what I'm talking about here. So let me give you a few final thoughts. Assisted living is not about avoiding risk. No meaningful business really is. It's about building operations that are resilient, systems that support people, and leadership that balances compassion with discipline. When your administrative foundation is strong, growth becomes intentional. Stress decreases, your reputation strengthens, and your business becomes something that lasts, not just financially, but in the lives you impact. And that's what makes your work so powerful. And I thank you for it. With some luck, I will have reached a location where I can take some questions from you on the phone. Let's cross our fingers and hope that happens. Either way, I'm glad I could talk to you for a few minutes now.
All righty then. Let's see here. I'm going to stop share so I can see you guys. So, still waiting. He's waiting for the bridge, so they're kind of stuck on the plane. But he brought up some really good points. And for those of you that missed last month, we actually have had a bookkeeper on here. So you could go to the event replay for last month's event and take a look at Leslie Olvera and what they're doing. And they specialize in bookkeeping for assisted living. And I'll tell you what, it's been a long time that we've been looking for somebody who understood this space and could do that. So bookkeeping is very, very important. Brian also mentioned about, you know, the I've seen people do this where, oh, I need you to draft something, and then, okay, we got it from here, and then they don't, because, you know, that was one of my clients that did that and ended up with a bad agreement that ended up biting him. So, you know, I think that was a pretty good point there. Any other points there resonate with anybody?
Vern, if I may,
Please.
I don't have a comment, but I do have a question on that note. When you refer to bookkeeper, can you elaborate a little bit more about what exactly that all entails? Are you talking about enrollments? Are you talking about taxes? Are you talking about financials? What does that mean?
Financials, yeah, yeah. So money
Okay.
in, money out, expenses, and then taxes as a result at the end of the year.
Financial bookkeeping.
Yeah, right. And I've got a few businesses, and it's always a challenge to find a good bookkeeper. And actually, I have a CPA and I have a bookkeeper, and my bookkeeper is cheaper than my CPA to do my bookkeeping. So the bookkeeper goes in and gets everything, the reconciliations done, and make sure that things are in the right accounts. And when she's done with everything, then I can send it to the CPA and pay him to do the tax part. And I used to have the CPA have one of his assistants do bookkeeping, but I'm saving probably $30 an hour by using an outside bookkeeper for that instead of his rates.
Okay, good to know.
But finding good ones is tough. And it's taken me 30 years to settle on a CPA. And they're the good ones are just not cheap, and they come and go. And I've
Right.
been through half a dozen or better. So I can tell you it's a tough thing. Something else that resonated a little bit, is Brian spoke a little bit about foundation. And the foundation of your business is so important. I've seen a lot of caregivers, and this is so common in small business. We call it the basically the engineer or the mechanic or whatever the skill set is, that they have the skills to do the business, but to do the work in the business, but they don't necessarily have the skills to actually run a business. And I was that way when I first got into business. I came from the sign industry and spent years learning the sign industry as an apprentice, and I was pretty good at it and started my own business. It took 10 years before I understood the business end of it. And how I survived that 10 years, I don't know. Not very well, but after the 10 years, I got together with a really good CPA and some good mentors about business and started to understand what business was. And business is business. It doesn't matter what if you're a mechanic or if you're a caregiver or a drywaller or whatever it is, all the principles are pretty much the same. So if you understand business and how business runs, then you're probably going to do pretty well with any business that you operate. It's the same thing going across the board for the most part. It's generally speaking. So often I see caregivers that want to come in and just be, take over a building. And I always ask, one of my qualifying questions is, have you ever run a business? Or do you have anybody on your team that has run a business? Because it's such a learning curve. And as Brian pointed out, you get involved working in the business and you don't have time to work on the business. And some of the best operators I've seen have got a combination. You have to have that caregiving heart to do this business. And on the opposite side too, if I see business people that come in and say, I want to do an assisted living because, oh my God, the numbers look great. And I'll say, what's your motivation for this? And if they say, well, the numbers look great, and this is why I want to do it, I'll try to talk them out of it, because this is not a business that you do just for the numbers. This is a business about people and grandmothers and kids and the care that they need. And if you don't have that element of caregiving and taking care of these people, you will not be successful in this business, no matter how good of a business person you are. Now, I'm working with a group right now, and they've got a really good caregiver administrator. They know what they're doing. Here's Brian, and he's got a lot of business acumen. And for us as financiers in that particular space, the fact that we've got somebody with a lot of knowledge in how to operate and take care of the people, and somebody who has a lot of knowledge in operating a business, that's a good group. And that's somebody that we're willing to, put up a couple $1 million to back. So I think we have Brian on the phone, maybe. He's muted. May not be quite connected yet. So if you're a caregiver looking to get in, then see if you can partner up with somebody or get some guidance along the business side of operating a business, and vice versa. We dropped. If you're an investor that just wants to get in, then you need to find somebody that understands the caregiving side of this, because it takes both of those things to be successful in this business. And this time I see that Brian has, maybe he can hear us. There he is. Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
Good. I've been stalling as long as I can. I think I filled a little time here though, but do we have questions for Brian?
Oh, so you were able to show the couple of minutes of video.
I was able to do that, yes.
Oh, hallelujah. We're putting it together.
I know, yeah. We just finished it about 2 or 3 minutes ago, so the timing is perfect.
Awesome.
So, Jane, I know you're getting ready to start a new business. You've got to have some questions for Brian.
Maybe I was so perfectly clear about the role of professionalism and administration and how key it is to distinguishing and surviving that it just left everybody clear and without questions.
Maybe. Adam, you're 2 weeks in. I know there's something on your mind that you got to ask him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey Brian, how are you doing?
Hi, Adam.
I'm getting all the free advice I can right now, but actually, what I probably need is a review of my contracts.
You came to the right place about that. But
Yeah, no,
do you have any questions?
Yeah,
Any questions about the presentation?
right. So I'm trying to figure out kind of how to drill down a little bit, because what I'm aware of is, okay, this thing's kind of it's about ready to the plane's about ready to get in the air, which I mean you're happy it landed, but for me, I just got the license and I've had a couple of tours and people are saying yes, and I'm taking deposits and stuff, and so it's about ready to launch. And I think what's really important for me is, how do I structure things where I'm like the first couple residents, you're setting up all your SOPs, you're trying to get the culture built, you're trying to get everybody to kind of know what the rhythms are day to day. And I'm trying to build that in a way where I literally don't need to be there every day, like at all. And I could run it. I could run it from Zoom conferences, a couple times a week. Like that's the idea, and scale it to maybe 24 beds or so. So in terms of like how to get things set up and to be very like where do I'm trying to figure out that pivot point between being tactically involved with the day to day for a while to set things up, and then how do you pull back and let them run things and then see how that goes. Kind of where do you see how do you see that playing out? Is that
Yeah,
can you
it's clear.
Scenario a little bit? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the key thing is you've got your policies and procedures that you need for the operation of the facility. But that's not all of the procedures that you really need to run the facility properly. Those are what the health department cares about. You are concerned about the administration of the business and to make sure all other procedures, which aren't really for them, the administrative procedures, so that you can have the facility running properly. And you know when you can start to step away from that, when you see that your team can do those things. You've heard the phrase, hey, we need to get everybody on the same page. Well, there's got to be a page. And that means the page is the procedures. So lots of people run things and they don't actually have the administrative side of their policies and procedures in place so that people know what to do as a business matter. They've got vacation stuff and how you lift people and all the other kinds of assisted living focused policies and procedures, but they're missing the how to be a business and how to make sure the business does the same things correctly over and over and over again. And so you know that your team can step in and do that. When you have them on the same page, you have a page, and you see them start to do that, then you can slowly start to back up from it and trust them to do it. And then, of course, it's an ongoing monitoring. I mean, stepping away from your business completely, it's hard within years. I mean, it takes years to do that. I hope that answers your question.
I think so I agree with you. You're pointing out that there's a distinction between the procedures that need to be in place for business administration, which really isn't, most of that's not really shared with the staff. That's just, these are the things that you're supposed to be continually doing. What's your marketing rhythm? How are you doing collections? Where's your accounting? All of that type of stuff. And then there's also the rhythms of how are people stepping through and managing care on an ongoing basis? What do you need to do to communicate that? How are you working with families? I guess it would be amazing if there was kind of it's sort of a checklist of checklists, like something that says these are all of the these are all the processes that you need to run, and I don't know, sort of a way of saying this is how you kind of install that. I mean, where does that expertise live? I mean, that's not necessarily with an attorney firm or a
Right.
or a lender or something. It's like this is the block and tackle of running the business with the intention of this can be for one home or 10 homes, right? And it's going to be the same. It's going to be basically the same. You're going to have a little bit more scale. You're going to have more people involved, but it's the processes don't actually change that much.
Yeah. And so what you're describing is basically a franchise model of assisted living, because franchises have those kinds of things in place. Or people who own lots and lots of assisted living places have those kinds of repeatable, duplicatable administrative procedures in place. And they do it because they have their own unique flavor to how they deliver care. And you are in luck in that the assisted living business is perhaps the only business I know where people are willing to talk with you and share with you what they know about how they do those businesses, how they do those kinds of procedures, how they keep up with it so that they can have those repeatable business administrative procedures. And you are going to share some of those with your staff because your staff is going to be doing some of that work, and particularly your administrator or your administrator designee. So you're going to be designing your own special assisted living program care, how you deliver care and how you run those businesses to provide that care. Or you're going to have to partner with somebody who does it. But you have lots and lots of people who are willing to share and help each other out in this community, and in Colorado, certainly.
I think Brian makes a really good point about that too. You look at a lot of businesses across the whole spectrum, and most of them keep their cards close because you're a competitor, right? Well, in this industry, if we don't share what we're doing and help each other improve, it's a black eye for the whole industry, and that hurts everybody. So I think that a lot of people realize that. Plus, if you're full and you have a good relationship, you could send them to somebody that does a good job, and that keeps your name good, and vice versa.
Exactly right. Now, I feel through the Jedi Force thing here that you would like something a little bit more specific on that. And unfortunately, because this is a Zoom kind of a call, what you're really going to have to do is talk to one of the assisted living people in our community to explore this question with you. And they'll do it through sharing their war stories and anecdotes about how the trials and tribulations they went through to get things set up to begin with. And vicariously is certainly a more effective and economical way to learn. You can do it.
Adam, we had a couple on, gosh, maybe it was last year or the year before. It's the Conrads. And they talked a little bit about their journey. These are the ones that have got the 622 beds. And Jennifer Conrad shared some great stuff about how she runs her teams. And that would be on the event replay. While we're on, I'll see if I can dig through and find that particular link, and I'll put it in the chat. But watching that and listening to what she's got to say would be very, very insightful for you.
Smokes, that's Peter Brissett.
Yes.
You've been spotted.
Do you want me to say something?
No,
say
I'm just acknowledging you exist, and I'm
I am
glad to
here.
glad
I
to
am
see you
alive.
again. I haven't seen you in quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And Jordan Gutierrez, another person who I haven't seen for a while. Holy smokes. I apologize, Vern. I haven't been on the group for a while. I've been mismatched calendar-wise. Any other questions for me about these kinds of things and how I just can't say this strongly enough. People fail if they don't get this right. It's not about the care. I mean, yeah, it's the care. People can do that because they have a good heart. But once everything else is running smooth business-wise, easier for your caregivers to do care.
So I know I put the link to that from Teachers to Trailblazers in the chat. Mitch talks about his real estate journey, but Jennifer talks a lot about what she's done to structure the workings of the business, and she really shared a lot more than I expected her to. And I walked away from that going, wow, that was great stuff.
Yeah. Another perfect example. I mean, these people are very expansion oriented, but still so willing to share information with others in the community.
Okay, any more questions? How about you, Terry? You're going to be diving in this soon.
She's cheating. She's going to be picking me up at the airport, and we're going to talk about.
Oh, she's probably on her way.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
Jennifer, do you have questions?
Hi, Brian. I am new to the group, and I was just wondering if you, where I can find more information. Do you do any other? I'm assuming you have a lot of different, maybe podcasts or uh, educational website, or where I can learn more.
Well, there's a couple things. These kind of video kind of things I do for the groups that I support. So Vern's group, the REL National Association, I do something every month with them. And so there's lots of recordings of me talking about various aspects of the business and with the RALNA group, as well as our own law firm website. There's, I don't know, maybe 120 different articles on various subjects that we've talked about, covering lots and lots of issues, particularly in Colorado. Thank you, Vern.
You bet. So I put
Perfect.
their link on there. And their blog is, I mentioned earlier, their blog has just got some great stuff on there. So you definitely want to go through the blog and you'll glean a lot from that.
Right.
Wonderful. I'll take a look at that. Thank you so much, Brian.
You're welcome.
Apologize earlier for the noise. I didn't realize I was unmuted. Sorry.
So this is
All-
Terry now.
Hey,
Can you
Terry.
guys hear me?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I'm sitting here outside DIA ready to pick Brian up, but thought I'd say hi. Hey, I tell you what, the support of everybody is priceless. Brian and Michelle, Peter, Vern's wisdom. I mean, everybody. I mean, what'd you say? Janet Cornell. Yeah. I mean, Kala, Rana. We got involved with everything, and it is priceless. I don't think we'd be near where we're at if we hadn't had all their help.
Yeah. Adam, you can see on our website that Vern put up there how to get in touch with me and set up an appointment, and we can talk about the other stuff. But for right now, we're just talking about picture how not to fall into that collection of people who have great intentions and then fall off the road into the ditch. It does happen. All right,
Unfortunately, yeah,
it does.
we've seen lots and lots of money lost because of poor management.
It's true.
Do you want to contribute some of the key ways that you've lost money, Vern, or like that you see where there's gaps? Like, here's a common mistake, and not, like, more than just the non-specific of, well, it's bad management, but like this was a
I'm going to piggyback off of what Adam's saying. I'm curious about that as well.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Well, personally, I'm trying to think of some of the horror stories that we've seen. Probably the first one I saw that was just awful was a gal had taken on 4 facilities and never quite got straight with the state. And, hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in these facilities. She took over some existing ones. And at one point, I was actually brokering the deal to get them sold. And she'd had them running for 6 or 8 months and realized, well, in a little bit over her head. So we were going to get the deal sold and had negotiated, I think, $400,000 for the business. And I forget what it was for the real estate, maybe 5 million. And we were going to meet the next day with the buyers and her as the seller. And on TV that night, there they are on the news with the state in there moving everybody out because she never got right with the state and her license. $400,000, poof, gone just like that. Tragic.
I can
Yeah.
add.
What's that?
I said I can add to some little bit. Even that's just a little bit vague, probably for Adam. So, the ability of people to get things done. If you've got staff members who can't do the administrative functions, or if you can't do them, and I'll get to it. I just have to go take care of Mrs. John. All those things, they build up so quick, and they end up with problems with the state. And so if you've got a staff member who just can't quite get to things, they need to go. It is tough, or their life needs to get sorted out or whatever. But people who can't complete these cycles, they make problems. And let's face it, a lot of caregivers they got tough lives already before they come to work. They might be single moms. One bad boyfriend will mess things up for them and then spill over into a life it's tough. Their lives are tough. And so giving them a way to make things consistent and repeatable and clear over and over again helps them a lot. Gives them some little bit of stability and consistency, so they go, all right, I can at least take a breath and do this thing because I know exactly what to do. I've been trained on it. I do it over and over again.
One question, in regards to administrative staff, what roles or job descriptions would you say are mandatory? For example, do I need an enrollment coordinator, caseworker? What do I need to start thinking about in order to put a good team together? What positions? What seats? Two good seats. I mean, you already mentioned the administrator.
Right.
Talking about
I mean,
a manager. Am I looking at?
If you're not the administrator, you need an administrator and an administrator designate. And then you need a bookkeeper. And that is a huge problem in the industry, I observe. A bookkeeper so that you can watch your money weekly and keep track of exactly what's going on in the business. And then you need to look. That's one of those, you got to finish the work cycle. Look. And if you don't look, then you don't know what's coming. You can't just look at it like, do we have empty beds? I need to do something about that. You need to look at that whole picture on a consistent basis. And bookkeepers are tough because I don't know why. They're like fruit. They just go bad after a while and you got to replace them every so often. It's a very strange situation. I'm looking at trying to find a way to solve that. But yeah, it's a consistent problem. And with Medicaid in particular, a lot of money on the table because bookkeepers aren't getting it right. Vern's nodding, so he's got some indication of that.
Yeah, one wrong billing and it sets you back by months.
That's right.
And that could just be an I not dotted or a T not crossed.
Or they just don't categorize things right, or they don't have to be talking with them regularly. It's not you let them go off and do their QuickBooks thing. No. You got to be visiting with them on a regular basis. You don't have to be in the same town, but you at least have to have, your Zoom calls and go over things together so that you are interacting with them a lot. So bookkeeping and administrators. And your administrators have to know enough to help you design the business administration type of procedures. There's lots of administrators out there who know how to provide care. But this is a business. And increasingly, the state is writing the regulations so that they're looking at the administrator as the operator of the business, which is odd, but that's how they're doing it. So they need to be ready to do their job. That means you have to get them grooved in on how to do everything. And just because they've been in the business 20 years doesn't necessarily mean they know how to do it. You need to have them train you and you train them while you work together on getting things under control. I think we're probably at the end of the string here, aren't we?
Pretty good stuff. Jordan, do you have any questions?
Jordan, did you ever get that house converted? And by converted, never mind. I was going to make a dad joke, but we're not going to do that right now.
All right. If we have no more questions, and let's give Brian a round of applause for making this happen from the airplane.
Thank you, Brian.
While traveling.
Oh my God, absolutely glad to see you guys. There's Jane. Awesome. All right. Well, I hope to hear from you guys. And even for just a chit chat or a phone call or something, I'd be happy to talk with any of you. All right.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it.
See you next time. All right,
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Wow, I can't believe we pulled that off. Wow. I was just freaking out last night when he sent me that text. Thinking, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But hey, it worked out. Barely, just in the nick of time, but okay, so we always wrap up the evening with a haves and wants. And this is an opportunity to, hey, if you have something you want to share with the group, or if you want something from the group, it's an opportunity to speak and tell us what you have, what you want, whatever it may be. Does anybody have any haves or wants?
I have once.
All right, let's hear them, Jane.
So right now, since I mentioned earlier, I'm still doing my take care of the patient in the clinic. I'm getting the home ready for future operation, but in meanwhile, I probably let my registered nurse or other occupational therapist operate at the home and maybe lease to them just for several years until I can step out. I know you are the expert of the leasing part, so I was wondering either you can help me review it, the lease contract, or you can share maybe a template.
So, our partners have worked on our template for many, many years, and they're very, very proprietary about the template.
Oh, okay.
And here's what I would say is you need to have a good attorney in your state. That would be my advice, to have a good attorney draft up the lease. You want to make sure, figure out what kind of lease you're doing. We do a triple net lease, which means that the
Uh-huh.
operator is responsible for the taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance on the property. And that's kind of a standard commercial lease, really. So the attorney that you'd be looking for would be a commercial real estate attorney, and they can draft up a lease. It doesn't have to be too crazy or anything like that. It's very much a very standard type of
Standard.
lease.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be something that you just, grab a residential lease and do. It would, typically, because you're leasing to a business, so you'd want to have a commercial type lease. And it could be a triple net, it could be a double net, or maybe you're responsible for big ticket items on the facility, like the roof or something like that. All
Mhm.
depends on what you work out with your tenant.
I basically just use those template online. So I did lease, but I running insurance issue. So right now it's converting single family to a commercial type of property. My insurance went up 7 times. So uh, yeah, I did not think about, well, the triple lease for small operator kind of also very stressful for them. Just to say, before the home as a regular either landlord or homeowner, the insurance only 2,000. Now it's 10,000. That's very only 6 to 8 beds. So that's kind of
Ten
crazy.
thousand a year.
2,000 a year as a homeowner insurance or a regular single family lease landlord insurance. Yeah, dual and coverage.
Okay, that sounds maybe a little high, but that could be also, that could include liability insurance. So,
Yes, both because they don't combine together. One is just a dual and commercial building, and on the top you have to buy lesser's liability.
right. So, we have our tenants have insurance and name us as additionally insured,
Yes,
is what we do. And then we've got probably a blanket policy because we have so many buildings, a blanket and an umbrella policy for anything that, could, the worst case scenario.
right.
And you can even write in the lease that they're responsible for that too. So you could write up the lease that, hey, they're responsible for your lessor insurance if you can negotiate that.
So what is called blank insurance policy?
A blanket where we've got like
Blanket.
we've got 45 buildings, so we have them pretty much all into a large pool
Okay.
of insurance. And so, and then an umbrella insurance policy over those.
Over top, on top. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I
That's
have, yeah, I do have. So right now I have the Duerin and the Lessers and an umbrella. Just a very small single family home. I have to carry 3 different
yeah.
levels of it, which is kind of wasted. Yeah.
It's a lot, yeah, especially, I would shop around. We've got a good insurance guy. It's Assured, Assured Insurance, and they cover some of this stuff. And on our website, I think I have maybe a couple other insurance people under our business contacts. So
Mm.
I would just shop it out and talk to some different agents. Insurance is something that, here's what I learned. I was with AT&T recently. For 20 years I was with them, and
Uh-huh.
they were giving all these specials out to new customers, but not to an existing customer.
Right.
So
They always do that.
I
Yeah.
got fed up with them, and I switched over to T-Mobile, and I got
Yeah.
great deal, and my rate is half as much.
Right.
And a couple of years ago, I switched my insurance and I cut the money there, and it made me realize, insurance and cell phones, you gotta shop out every
Shop
2 years.
around. Yeah.
And if you gotta switch, save some money, because once they got you hooked, they just keep upping the rates and think you won't switch. So you start
Right.
shopping, and that's how you get your prices down.
Right. This is the first time I actually switched to commercial insurance. So they haven't tried to take advantage of me because I'm still a new customer.
Yeah, but you might just, see if there's some places specialize in commercial, some do residential, and we'll do commercial as well. So, that numbers just sounds a bit high to me,
I
but
think the reason they putting me in a nursing home category. I only have 6 bedroom. How come I'm in that category? And they said, well, right now in a very small subspecialty assisted living. So now the risk is equivalent to a nursing home. And
right.
I consulted with many agents, even the one in Texas, very popular. Everybody knows her name.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, maybe after you get some experience mods in there, it will go down. We've seen insurance that gets lower. The better your surveys are, then because I've certainly seen it the other direction when people have bad surveys where the insurance gets really high and closer to what that is. So they probably look at that risk similar to, hey, you're brand new
Right.
and you're going to be on this level here. But the more experience you get and the better your surveys are, hopefully your insurance will start to drop.
But that's for operated. I'm just a landlord this moment.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that much for,
Hmm.
or your tenant. If it's liability, your tenant ought to be covering that because the liability's on them.
So I should not even need to worry about lesser's liability as a landlord this moment?
Well, I wouldn't say that because I'm not an insurance expert or an attorney. So I would say
Right.
probably need
Just
to
from
consult some
experience.
experts
Yeah.
that could guide you that way. But yeah, maybe not. Maybe if they have good enough liability and you're covered on it too, then maybe at that point all you need is an umbrella. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a 1 million, 3 million aggregation. Yeah.
Right.
Right. It's a small home. So this is new to me because a few
Yeah.
years later I'll operate myself. Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate your input. Thank you, Ryan.
Sure. Okay. Any other haves or wants? All right, well, I'm going to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Hopefully we brought some value to you. Again, these are recorded, so you can go to our events page and watch some of the the past ones. And hopefully you get some value out of those too. We are going to be at a new time starting next month, so we'll be an hour earlier and won't keep you up so late on the East Coast. And I've got some pretty cool speakers coming up. Again, pay attention to that May one. You're really going to want to see that gal come on. I'll just give you a sneak preview. If you've ever heard of Teepa Snow, she's agreed to speak for us, and she is the #1 speaker for Alzheimer's. So she's a national speaker, and she's going to come and visit our little group. So
Vern, before we say our goodbyes, can I ask you one last thing? And it's very short. Here in Colorado, what is the just to understand that to be without having to get into assisted living, if somebody wanted to host anyone in their home, is it 2 or 3 clients that they could have at home without licensing?
Right. It's been my belief it's 2. That's the way I read the regs. I've heard somebody say it's 3, but you could look at that Chapter 7 regulation and see it used to be in there. I haven't reread that for a couple of years to see if that's changed, but it ought to say something in there. But I believe it's 2. Jenna Cornell would know for sure as well. But I have heard one person tell me it's 3, and it's like, well, I haven't seen that before, but maybe there's something I don't know.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll see you guys next month. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Thanks, everybody. And good night.